How to take care of your dog's paws. The dog's paws are particularly exposed to injuries and all kinds of inconveniences, such as burns, frostbite or even cuts. However, some of these problems can have significant consequences for the animal and hinder it in its daily movements. To avoid these constraints, it is recommended to take good care of your dog's paws. Here are our 4 tips for doing just that. Tip 1. Regularly check the dog's paws. To avoid problems and preserve the good health of your dog's paws, it is essential to regularly check their appearance. After each outing, it is necessary to inspect the paws of his doggie in search of any foreign body stuck, a wound or cut, or an accumulation of dirt. This precaution is important for the well-being of the animal, whether it is walking in the street, in nature or on the beach. If you notice the presence of a foreign body, such as broken glass, a spikelet, a splinter or other, it is important to quickly remove it with tweezers and disinfect the area. In case of infection, consult your veterinarian without delay. After a walk on the seaside, clean your dog's paws well with water to remove all the sand accumulated between his pads and any pieces of shell stuck. This will avoid the risk of injury. And if you notice that your dog insistently licks his paw, he may have injured himself or may still be bothered by an unnoticed object. Be attentive and act without delay, you may have missed something. Tip 2. Properly maintain the dog's paws. In addition to inspection, regular maintenance of the dog's paws is essential. This allows the animal to feel more comfortable and helps to prevent certain risks of injury. A dog's paws need 2 types of regular care: grooming the hair that grows between the pads and claws, and grooming the claws. Haircut. Between the dog's claws and pads, hair grows and can be really long. However, when they are important, they form an ideal and comfortable nest for bacteria and dirt, and the spikelets tend to nest there without you being able to see them. It is therefore recommended to prevent risks by regularly cutting these localized hairs and thus preventing them from protruding between the pads and the claws. Trimming once a month is usually sufficient. Claw cutting. When the dog's claws are too long, they can hurt him. The doggie is embarrassed to walk, he can lean on them and they can get under his skin. It is therefore recommended to trim a dog's claws from time to time. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, ask your veterinarian to take care of it or advise you on the right steps to take. Tip 3. We think about preventing risks. Whenever the dog's paws are at risk, it is best to take the lead in order to prevent injury. As we have already mentioned, the meticulous examination of the dog's paws after each outing is a necessary first step to avoid certain inconveniences. Indeed, even a walk in a known place without apparent risk can lead to an injury. A small debris can get lodged between the pads of the pooch without you even noticing it. Do not neglect these checks. The cold is also an underestimated danger. The presence of frost or snow on the ground, and even salt on the roads, is harmful for the pads of the doggie. After each outing in this context, it is necessary to dry the dog's paws well, especially between the pads, in order to avoid the risk of frostbite or chapping. If salt has been spilled on the road, first wash your pet's paws with lukewarm water and dry them thoroughly. To protect the dog's pads from the effects of the cold, but also from irritation due to heat, do not hesitate to apply suitable protective and/or repairing products. Ask your veterinarian for advice on how to choose and use them well. Finally, after going out to sea, remember to rinse the dog's paws well with clear water. The sand is not his only enemy, the sea salt is just as bad for his skin. Wash it off with lukewarm, clear water as soon as you get home to avoid irritation and drying effects. Tip 4. We treat sores. Of course, in case of injury, we act without delay. Never neglect the wounding elements at the level of your dog's paws, because the suffering animal risks compensating for its discomfort or pain with a posture intended to relieve the injured paw, but likely to cause other problems, in particular disorders. Bones and joints. When the animal has burned itself, consult your veterinarian as soon as possible so that he can advise you on the steps to take and the products to apply. In the event of an injury, it all depends on the severity of the injury. A deep cut can only be taken care of by the veterinarian, who will clean the wound and close it with stitches. While waiting for the consultation, which must be carried out urgently, apply sterile compresses to the wound and press to stop the bleeding. If the cut is superficial, clean the wound well with soap and water. Eliminate all foreign bodies that could have crept into the folds of the skin, then disinfect the wound, without alcohol, because the skin of dogs is very sensitive, but with a solution based on iodine, chlorhexidine or hydrogen peroxide. Use a sterile compress, but avoid cotton, which can leave filaments in the wound. Finally, if possible, apply a dressing of compresses to the wound to protect it from bacteria and dirt. Replace it every day or twice a day until completely healed.